Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inspired and Empowered Living TV show and podcast. We are live Tuesday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern on talk4tv.com, w4wn.com, and my YouTube channel. And today we will be continuing to talk about embracing change, turning transitions into transformations. And because this was such an important topic, we are actually in part 4. And today we will be talking about how to turn those transitions into transformations, whether you're facing personal or professional shifts. This episode will equip you with the mindset and the tools to embrace change as a pathway to growth. Discover how to navigate uncertainty with confidence, overcome fears of the unknown, and turn your life's transitions into opportunities for alignment and empowerment. So don't miss this journey today, and together we can help you create a life you love. I'm your host, Nanci Deutsch, licensed clinical social worker, certified hypnotherapist, and intuitive breakthrough expert. I combine my counseling, coaching, and intuitive abilities to transform your life. And this show is not a replacement for therapy or counseling. It is for educational purposes only. So we have been talking about change and that no matter what and who you are, where you are, the one thing that is constant is there will always be change, and that you can turn change into transformation. So when you're going through transitions, and whatever transition that you may be on, you can allow yourself to be in the transition and look at it as an opportunity for growth. And I have questions from last week's show that we're going to get to in just a moment. And really want to remind you that we can all help ourselves, and that the most important thing that you can do for yourself is creating essential self-care. And part of essential self-care is being able to do coping strategies and find coping strategies that work, coping strategies that can help you navigate through the changes, through the transitions. And so we'll be talking more about that in today's show. And I see that we have Allie in the house. Hello, Allie. Good morning to you. And good morning to all of you. And as always, you know I love your questions. So please feel free to ask your questions. And let's get to questions from last week's show. So last week, Anastasia asked, when do we know we have the right coping skills to use and how to use them. Okay, so first of all, let me define what a coping skill is so that we're all on the same page and the same track, the right track, baby. Okay. So, coping skills are techniques and strategies and tools that you use during times of change and transition. And they help you to manage stress, anxiety, difficult emotions, challenging situations. And when you have effective coping skills, they can help you to respond to life's changes in a much more peaceful and calmer way, and it can prevent you from having overwhelm. So that's why coping skills are so important and so essential. And we will get deeper into them. And how do you know that you have the right coping skills and how to use them? You know that you have the right coping skills when you watch yourself decompress. And so if you're feeling stressed out, if you're feeling anxious, if you're having a really challenging time, and all of a sudden, like, and I also have said that not every time is every coping skill going to work for you. So I always suggest that you create a list of coping skills so that when you move through the coping skills, you can, if one doesn't work in that moment, then you try the next one and you keep going until you're feeling calmer, until you're allowing yourself to relax a little more, till you feel less stressed, even relaxed, until the anxiety that you are in a calmer, more peaceful place. That is how you know your coping skills are working. And so we're going to talk more about them throughout the show. Okay. So, and then we had a couple of questions from Mickey. And Mickey said, but you need to know the difference between what is good for you and what is not. How would coping skills help you to know between the two? So, the way that you know, I really venture to say that most of you, if not all of you, know when something is not good for you. You have a feeling, a sense, a knowing that what you're doing feels off, or you know that it's really not good for you, that you're going to, let's say, addictive behaviors. If you're going to an addictive behavior like smoking, drinking, eating, gambling, and all the others, so many others, then spending money is another one, over shopping. So any of those addictive behaviors, on some level, even if you're doing them, you know they're not good for you. And so it's learning to find the coping skills so that you can then turn to healthy coping skills rather than those addictive behaviors. Because on some level, you know that they are not helping you, that they are destructive for you. And it may not only be destructive for you, but also when you have addictive behaviors, it could be interfering in your relationships as well. So know that something would not feel right. And how would you know if the coping skills help you to know between the two? What happens when you use healthy coping skills and you start calming yourself down instead of going towards an addictive behavior, you start feeling calmer, more peaceful. And when you're in that space, things become clearer. You become clearer. So that's how coping skills would help you distinguish between the two. Now, let me know if you have any other questions based on what I just said about that. And the other question Mickey had was, at what time in life do we recognize what happened in the past and what we grew up with is not really the road map to follow? So that would take awareness. It all depends on you. There are people awakening in their teenage years, in their 20s, in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. There are people waking up in their 80s, even 90s. You can have awarenesses and understandings that you may not have had when you were younger. And so you're doing the best you know how to do in any moment in time, and learning to start awaken and understand what you learned, the unhealthy roadmap. Like if you learned healthy skills or healthy tools or healthy resources, like things that are really helpful for you in life, then you want to keep those up. It's the unhealthy behaviors, the unhealthy patterns that need changing. And as you move through your life and you start working on using healthy coping skills, then you will be able to help yourself become more aware. It's awareness that helps you discover when you're feeling healthy or not healthy. It's learning to have more awareness, crucial and key to everything. So hopefully, let me know if you have any other questions based on that. Anastasia says, I made it here. I'm really glad you made it here, Anastasia, and I answered your question. So I hope you got to hear it. And if you didn't, know that you can always listen to the YouTube or the podcast. So I did answer your question from last week. And if there's anything else, let me know. So let's talk coping skills, okay? Coping skills, really crucial, really important. So I am going to show you one coping skill, taking water. Now, do you realize, and I don't know the stats, but I believe many of us, and I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian, I just know from my own body, from my own self, my own life, that a lot of us are dehydrated. And you don't even realize you're dehydrated, but you can be dehydrated. So making sure that you're drinking plenty of water so that you're hydrated, because hydration will help your body cope. And that's a coping skill on a body level. So definitely you want to be drinking water, definitely. And of course, during warm weather, you want to be drinking more wetter. You want to be drinking more water so that you can allow yourself to, because you'll be releasing it through bodily functions. So it's really important to make sure you're hydrated. Okay. And that's a coping skill for the body. Okay. And we're going to be talking mostly emotional, but I wanted to make sure I got that in. And Anastasia says, how do we know if we are using the right tools to cope with the right issue? So the best way to say that is, if you, and again, I support you all in creating a list of coping skills. And you may want to jot these down as I go through them. And you will see what's helping you in the moment. And so you may not be like when you're really anxious and you're really stressed, you may not be you may not be able to tell in the moment. The way that you tell if it's right coping skill for the right moment is if you notice that you're calming down. And that is really the key to the coping skill, is if it's helping you to relax, helping you to calm down, helping you to be able to definitely relax, calm down, breathe. Breathing is one of the most important coping skills. So breathing and allowing yourself to breathe and feeling your breath. Remember, I talk about the belly breath. So breathing is an important coping skill, and I've talked about it a lot. So I just really want to support you. Breathing is a great coping skill. Now, it may not always help. So you got to have all these different coping skills and tools to help you and support you in moving forward, calming down, feeling more relaxed. Okay. So, and even deep breathing exercises. So you have deep breathing exercises, and deep breathing exercises can help you calm down. Everybody take a breath. And another one. You may even want to put your hand on your belly. And when your hand goes up, when you're breathing in, your hand should go up, your belly comes out. And when you're breathing out, your belly and your hand go down. And that's how you know you're doing the deeper breath breathing exercises and following your hand, following your breath. And you can notice, can you even notice the difference in my voice since I took a breath? And that's what can happen. That's the power of what can happen. And so allow yourself to breathe. Take a deep breath in and out. And in and out. And hopefully that helped calm you down even a little bit. So that's one breathing, that's one coping skill that you can use. And again, if you have any questions, anybody, please feel free to ask. So another coping skill is called progressive muscle relaxation. Now, progressive muscle relaxation is tightening every muscle. Like I usually like to start from the feet and move up your body. You could start from your head, tightening your eyes, your nose, your mouth, and just really allow, and then loosening. Or you start from your toes and your feet and then relax. So you're tightening a group of muscles and then you relax. And so anytime that can help you to help you relax and be able to calm yourself down. Again, it's another tool to calm yourself down. Try it. Let me know. Let me know how it works. Now, I've talked about this next tool, and the next tool is journaling. And journaling is being able to journal whatever comes up. If you're feeling in a funky mood, or you're feeling sad, or you're missing someone, or, you're going through the changes, not the changes, you're going through change. Well, for women, we do go through the changes. So you may be going through that, but you may just be going through, not just, you're going through change and transition, you may be wanting to write a letter to the past, or write a letter to what was, to help you to work through and heal and clear, so that you're moving forward with maybe clarity. And we have country corners. You want us to tighten muscles and relax them. How is that going to work? So what happens is, when you are stressed, when you feel anxious. Now, I've talked about this with the lungs, is that your lungs you shut down, like you're not totally shut down. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. You need to breathe. But you contract. And what happens, that happens with every single muscle group in the body. When you're under stress and you're feeling stressed out, your muscles are tight. Now, how many of you you've ever had a massage or you're feeling really stressed, and you can feel the tension, you can feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, and your shoulders or your neck are really tense. And that happens when you're stressed out, when you're feeling anxious, when you're going through difficult situations and you're going through transitions, you may be all tense. And so what happens is, when you tense the muscles and then loosen them, you're bringing relaxation, awareness and relaxation to those muscle groups. And what happens, it's tensing and relaxing actually helps in the relaxation process. So definitely try it. I want to hear how you like it, how it works. Try, even start with your feet, and start with your feet, and allow yourself to tighten your toes, tighten your feet, and then relax. And then breathe. You could do 2 at one time. Breathe and feel your feet. And notice how that feels. Notice how that feels right here, right now, helping you come back to present time right here, right now. How does that feel? And Misty asked, what was a letter to the past one? Can you tell us more about that, please? Okay. So what I've done is, with clients, what I've supported clients in doing, like, for example, Steffi was grieving the loss of a relationship, the loss of her boyfriend. And she really was in a lot of grief, and she knew that she wasn't going to continue the relationship. She knew that it was best that the relationship end, but she had so much grief, and that grief was many levels and many layers. And so what happened with Stephanie is, as she started journaling, and what I told her to do was write a letter to her ex-boyfriend. Now, and this letter is not to be mailed. It was specifically for Steffi. So I'm not telling you to mail any letters to exes or whatever. I'm telling you, this is for an exercise for you. So what Steffi did was, she started letting out all the anger. She started letting out all the sadness. She let out the grief. She was angry. She cried. She allowed herself to express all the emotions as she wrote the letter. And then what started happening was, not only did she start releasing the grief and all the emotions associated, because grief it's not just sadness. It can have anger. It can have other ones. It could have fear. It could have a lot of different emotions. Grief is multi-layered. And so as Steffi started writing all those emotions and processing them and grieving and allowing herself to feel, what started happening was she started becoming aware that she also had those feelings for her dad who left them when she was younger, when she was 9 years old. So Steffi was grieving, and she started realizing that her ex-boyfriend reminded her of the abandonment she felt from her father. And so there was more grief than she had realized. But what happened was, as she was journaling, she got in touch with, and so she wrote a letter to the ex. It started, and then she started talking about her dad. And then when the next session, I actually had her write a letter to her dad. Now, this is not about mailing those letters. This is about you. This is about you being able to process your feelings as you journal. And so that's one thing. Another possibility is if you lost a job, or I remember, okay, I'm going to tell you, I remember I actually wrote, when I was really working on giving up cigarettes. Cigarettes were more than cigarettes, they were that addiction, and they were destructive. And I knew how destructive they were. And yet they were also a comfort. They were a friend. And I'm putting that in quotes for those of you who are listening, because they weren't really, but in my mind, I had used them like that. And so what happened was I actually wrote a goodbye letter, because I knew I needed to let go of the cigarettes, a goodbye letter to the cigarettes, and how they have been a friend and a comfort, and I'm sad, but I know that I need to. And I mean, this was many, many, many years ago. So I'm just recalling what happened at that moment. But I wrote a letter to the cigarettes. And so this is being able to help yourself process through what you need to process through in order to let the energy go of a person, of a situation, of a place. Maybe you had to move when you were 12 years old, and like from some place. Maybe you moved out of state. Maybe you lived in Ohio and you had to move, and you moved into Idaho, and maybe you miss Ohio and you miss all your friends. You would actually write a letter. I really miss you. I miss the old house. I miss my friends. So it's really helping you to process all of that. So that's what I mean by writing the letter. So Misty, hopefully that helped explain it to you. And okay, so Country Corners asks, any particular muscles or any of them? So what progressive muscle relaxation is actually using, going up the body or down the body. The reason why it's called progressive is because you're actually working on relaxing all the muscles in your body one at a time. And that could take some time. I mean, if you're in a hurry and you don't have much time, you only have, let's say, 5 minutes, and you do a few muscles, see if it helps. But if you can give yourself more time, if you can give yourself like more time to move through the different muscle groups in your body, you will find at the end, as you've gone through your body, whether you start from your feet or you start from your head and go down, or you start from your feet and go up, you will find that you feel more relaxed. Try it. I want to hear. So, and then before we get to the next coping skill, I want to support you and let you know that we have another masterclass coming up. And this masterclass for all you women, coaches, healers, therapists, helping professionals, freedom and fulfillment, 3 steps to grow your thriving holistic business. And during this masterclass, we are going to help you to receive your clear vision breakthrough, your money breakthrough, and your action plan breakthrough. So you'll discover more about igniting your vision, aligning your business with your passions, your purpose, your values. And then for your money breakthrough, you're going to discover limiting beliefs that keep you from earning more money. And then you'll empower yourself with experiential exercises and strategies and learn how to tap into your intuition for success. And then your action plan breakthrough is make more money to turn your dreams into reality, to create an action plan to start sharing your gifts with the world. And all of this is happening next week, November 18th, 19th, and 20th from 7:30 p.m. Eastern or 4:30 p.m. Pacific. So join us. And Rebel, could you put the link in the chat? It's inspired and empoweredliving.com/masterclass. Again, inspired and empoweredliving.com/masterclass. Okay. So join us. Okay. So all right. So and now the next coping skill is, and again, you can ask any questions. So we've got deep breathing. We've got progressive muscle relaxation. And we've got journaling. Okay. Now, there's something called mindfulness meditation. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be a meditation. It doesn't have to be a look like meditation. Okay. So what I mean by that is people do, when you become mindful and you do mindfulness meditation or you do mindfulness, what happens is you become aware and conscious of the moment. So you may become aware of your body. You may become aware of your breath. You may become aware. Some people do it when they're eating. Some people do mindfulness when they're walking. Imagine doing mindfulness in the room that you're in and start noticing the room in front of you and all the objects that are in the room in front of you. Noticing, I just noticed the birds. There was like a flock of birds that just passed by. Noticing what's going, if you're outside, being outside in nature and noticing the littlest things. You know that saying, stop and smell the roses. It's being mindful. And mindfulness is really another word for being aware, for taking time to be aware, to be present with what is. And when you become more mindful, when you become more present, it is a coping skill that can help you calm down. It can help you to go into quietness. Now, if you start getting you start like thinking, going, see, when you're in thinking mode, you're not in awareness unless you become aware that you're thinking. And becoming aware that you're in thinking mode is a good thing, because then you can do something about it. You can make a conscious decision and say, you know what? I am choosing to now do some deep breathing or progressive muscle relaxation. And you're becoming, so awareness is really the crucial thing. And so learning to become aware, becoming mindful, becoming present to what is, becoming present to what is, and allowing yourself to be present. And that is really powerful. Learning to become present with what is. And just, you can even feel yourself calming down. Perhaps you need to listen to the podcast, to the TV show, and just allow yourself to focus on the sound of my voice. Maybe just listening can help you relax and calm down. And you know that it's the right coping skill at the right time when you've allowed yourself to relax or feel more relaxed, when you've allowed yourself to calm down. Okay, so Charles asks, will all of these work for anyone? So, yes and no. So some of them may work for you and some of them may not. And some of them, you may be a person that all of them may work, but they may not work all. Like one day, you may really, if you're really stressed out, try the muscle relaxation, the progressive muscle relaxation. That may help you, because in that moment, a deep breath or two is not going to help you. You may need a lot more support. So it's learning, and this is where the learning curve comes in. It's learning to know, okay, I need a deeper or longer thing right now to help me calm myself down. And again, you can go through the different ones. And if you have time to journal, you may want to try to journal, but you may not have time to journal. So maybe you need to do the deep breathing, a few minutes of deep breathing, the belly breathing. So again, you have to see what will work, when it'll work for you in that moment in time. And will any of these, so here's the thing. This is discovering for you which ones work for you and when they work for you. I would even take notice or notice what's working, when it's working, and even jot it down so that you could try that another time. And again, write your list, because at another time it may work or it may not. Again, okay, so I just really want to support you in tuning in and really discovering what's working and what's not working. Okay, so definitely want to support you in doing this. All right. Anastasia says, how many should we try for each situation? So, Anastasia, I would say that you want to, if you notice that you go, let's say you start deep breathing and you do a few deep breaths, and you're in a situation where you really don't have time to do some of the others, but it's helping you, go for it. Then that helps. But if you have more time and you can, I think it really depends on the situation that you're in, how much time you have, and what's working. And again, the way to know if it's working is if you're calming down. If you can feel that you've been like really stressed out, and then all of a sudden you're like, deep breathing, you even notice your breath is like, you know that you're relaxing when you can start feeling your muscles relax, when you start feeling your breathing, taking deeper breaths. And so when you notice, then you notice that has worked for you. So it really depends on the time you have and the situation. And sometimes you may need to move through a few of them. Like, for example, like I said, you may want to try some deep breathing and maybe a little muscle relaxation, maybe not the whole body, but maybe your feet and like a lot of times we clench our fists. You know where else we clench when you're stressed? Your jaw, like you can clench and then release. Jaws tend to really get a lot of stress. Shoulders, man, definitely. Like there's certain places on bodies that tend to carry that stress. Notice which ones are your stress places. Are they your shoulders? Are they your jaw? Are they your, some people have like lower back issues or hips. And so really this is about noticing now. Noticing what's working and when it works. Okay. And then country corners. Okay, so I'm gonna do country corners. I am gonna start with your question next show. What we're gonna do for the next show is we are gonna focus more on coping skills. So we're going to call it the coping skills. And I see your question came in, Misty. And Misty, I'll get to your question next week. So coping skills galore. I have a whole list that I will share with you more next week. So stay tuned. From next week, we're doing more coping skills to really help you. And this is the perfect time because we're coming into holiday season. Okay. So I'm starting to prepare you how to deal with your holidays so that you can de-stress during holiday season. Okay. So we'll do more coping skills. And then that's where, and I'll answer those questions next week. Okay. So, and Misty, I see you have 2 questions came in. So I'll definitely answer both of them next week. Okay, cool. So stay tuned next week. More coping skills, inspired and empowered living. TV show and podcast. We're live Tuesday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern on Talk 4 TV, W4WN, my YouTube channel. And also, you can hear the podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Apple, Amazon, and many more. And so, definitely, I want to support you in testing them out. Let me know how they work for you and how these coping skills are working for you. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget, I have the masterclass coming up, Freedom and Fulfillment, 3 steps to grow your thriving holistic business for women, coaches, healers, therapists, and helping professionals. And I wish you all an inspired and empowered day and an inspired, empowered week. Have a great one, everybody. Bye for now.